Hello everybody, today I'm going to talk to you about a fragrance that I have absolutely fallen head over heels with in the last year and a half since I have pulled the trigger on this. In the last 6 months I have worn this on the regular, and that includes during some of the warmer weather. As you guys know, I do not play favorites when it comes to fragrances based on season because I don't believe in that. I think that some fragrances really do shine brighter in a particular season that's not what they were intended to be used for. And this is one of those fragrances that's the exception, because I think that what I personally relate this fragrance to is something that I used to do in the warmer months. So, that being said, I hope you all are doing well. I hope that everyone is healthy and safe, and those fun little things that I like to mention in the beginning of my videos. I'm surprised I haven't gotten any flack for it yet, because some people like to just be miserable. But I am here with you guys spiritually and morally, and I want to make sure that all of my friends and subscribers and viewers are happy and healthy out there. So I hope you're all doing well. Today, we're going to go to the house of DS and Durga, and we're going to be talking about this beauty right here, Amber Teutonic. So as you can see, this is the presentation. Yeah, it's pretty solid. It's cardboard. Pull it out, and the fragrance rests inside. Voila. Amber Teutonic was released in 2018, and it was paired with another amber fragrance called Amber Kiso. They both came out at the same time. Now, Amber Kiso is a fragrance that I tried right off the bat as well. I ordered the samples from DS and Durga directly because, for one, I'm a huge fan of the brand. They're simplistic. They make fragrances that kind of push the envelope a little bit. I don't know if you've ever tried things like Bow Makers or Cowboy Grass or Italian citrus, or one of the most common ones is Burning Barbershop. Those fragrances are all incredible. And I'll mention this one as well, Radio Bombay, which is, one of my favorite sandalwood fragrances ever. The whole list just goes on, and they're all of quality, and they're all just amazing, amazing fragrances. So anyways, Amber Kiso and Amber Teutonic came out at the same time, and Amber Kiso is a fragrance that I tried and found to be incredibly interesting, but it certainly did not match me, unfortunately. It's almost like it reminds me of a pirate a little bit, in the sense that it's like kind of stinky. It's got a lot of florals to it, and it's got some bandages to it. It's a very interesting fragrance. I think that if you like that medicinal vibe with some leather and amber, definitely go give it a check. But this is the one that I sprayed on, okay, and I just knew that I had to have a bottle immediately. Like, immediately, I knew that this thing and I were going to be very good friends, especially given my history of loving amber fragrances and loving fragrances like Amber Absolute by Tom Ford. Now, Amber Teutonic is a fragrance that paints such a vivid picture for me, and that's kind of what I love about these fragrance houses that come about, that are crafted by people that are true artists, that really have a love for perfume, that aren't necessarily trained by an industry, and really just, it all was provoked through passion and love and an artistic ability to create a visual through smell. And that's what I absolutely love about this brand. So with Amber Teutonic, it's such a vivid experience for me that I could almost be standing there when I'm experiencing what's happening to me visually through the fragrance. I could literally be in the place that it's depicting to me. So the notes in the fragrance are cedar, cardamom, pine, Papanox, got some mandarin in there, and some musks. But really, the main notes are pine sap, maple wood, and amber and vanilla, okay? When I first apply this fragrance, there's a little bit of that fresh quality from some of the geranium and the mandarin, but really, this is just outdoors. This is forest through and through. I've read that quite a few people get a medicinal mint vibe in the fragrance. I don't really get that. However, there is kind of a cooling, cool breeze effect for a little while, as if you're in a pine forest and smelling what the cool breeze is drifting into your nose, like the pine sap, the pine cones, and the tree bark itself. I grew up on a family farm, and there's a lot of history on my family farm. We still have it. It was part of the Underground Railroad. There were sections of the land that had old railroad bed going through it. There's old roads. Of course, this was all abandoned. And obviously my family built their houses on this land. When I was a kid, we would go camping in the pines. The pines, in conjunction to where the houses were a solid 20-minute walk. So as a kid, that seems like forever. And the adults would go with us too, of course, but we would make a huge thing out of it. We would have our wooden toy guns, and we would make a huge adventure out of this whole thing. My grandfather would sometimes bring us out on the wagon. He'd be pulling the wagon with a tractor, and we would have all of our camping gear with us, and it'd be like, we're on the wagon bumping around with our toy gun going into war kind of thing, right? War with usually like a creature of some kind. We fought a lot of zombies and werewolves when I was a kid. A lot of swamp monsters. So in the back in the pines, my grandfather would usually go with us, as well as sometimes my uncle. And there was probably 3 or 4 of us cousins that were on the regular participating around the ages of, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we would build a fire, and we would sleep under the stars with our sleeping bags. And we didn't use tents, we used a tarp, so it was all open. And I would fall asleep listening to, not too far away was the thruway, and it was just like a humming noise, a very, like you're in the middle of nowhere type noise, but it was a humming. And you would just hear kind of the critters gallivanting around in the woods, and you'd have nothing but your cold breath and the fire in front of you. And the next morning we'd wake up, and my grandfather would make us homemade pancakes and bacon and homemade coffee on the open flame. That is exactly what this fragrance does for me. It reminds me, it takes me there. This fragrance is that pine sap that if you accidentally rested against one of the trees for 0.2 seconds, you'd be covered in pine sap. It reminds me of the pine cones that would crunch beneath your feet as you're walking into the forest. It reminds me of the forest bed, the needles, the pine needles that were just all over the place. And it would remind me of that maple pancake smell, because it does possess a maple scent, a maple accord in the fragrance. So anytime a fragrance can completely strike a chord with me, not just intellectually or artistically, but like to my core, on a very vulnerable level, on a very personal level, I fall in love with it immediately. And this fragrance has done that for me. I don't even feel like it's fair for me to rate the fragrance or go on some long-winded tangent about how well this performs and does this and does that, because I'm completely biased. I will say that the fragrance is potent as all get up, okay? This stuff is, 3 sprays max. It'll last you all day and all night. It's a completely seductive, homey, wonderful, safe fragrance, okay? And I mean safe in the sense that, like, it has this quality about it that makes you feel like you're at home. For me, obviously, even more so. But it has a really wonderful warmth and depth to it that reminds me of how a cozy house with a fireplace should kind of smell. This wonderful, beautiful little presentation here, which I cannot get enough of. I love the simplicity of these bottles. The 50 ml will go for $175 off of their website, and I believe the 100 ml goes for $260. You can look for this fragrance on places like FragranceNet and Fragrance X, but I'll tell you, I could never find it. I actually ordered this one directly from the website. But I had a lot of fun doing that because you can get a collection of, I think it's maybe 4 of their samples, if I remember off the top of my head. Don't, quote me on that, but I think it's 4 for like $30, and they're pretty decent size, 2 ml sprayers. And it's just a lot of fun to kind of explore that house because they have offerings that are a little bit out there. They're reaching for a potential picture being painted in your head rather than just, oh, I smell good today. It's wonderful to have those options too, but with a fragrance like this, I have to say yet again that I'm absolutely in awe with it, and I love what it can bring to the table because it is about art. It's about creating a feeling, and it does that so well for me. I think that Amber Teutonic would be a wonderful choice for anyone who's looking for something that makes them feel cozy and safe. It's a wonderful choice for anyone that loves the outdoors. It's a wonderful choice for someone who's looking for something that's a little bit more formal. I think it can play all those roles very well. It's heavy, it's sexy, it's inviting. A wonderful fragrance. I highly recommend it. The performance is great on this, and it's overall just something that I really am going to hold close to me, near and dear. It is a fragrance that is a contender for one of the best amber fragrances I've ever come across. Personally, it is right up there with Amber Absolute by Tom Ford, and that is no easy feat. That all being said, I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you're all doing very well, and I will talk to you all soon. I hope you all go check out what I consider to be a 10 out of 10 masterpiece and enjoy it.